Okay, so today we have exercise 20. We will learn about cast shadows. Now, any object, when you have a light source, creates a cast shadow. Okay, so we will learn the basic principles and we will draw some simple objects for you to understand how to draw shadows. In some drawings you will need it, so we will cover this today. So, we will draw in two-point perspective. We have our horizon line, the two vanishing points, and we will start with very simple object, the cube, okay? And we will draw also a circle or a sphere. You can also call it, depending on how you shadow it. And then we will draw another object with an opening. Now, once we have the horizon line, our two vanishing points, we need to select the placement of the light source. So where is the light source? It can be in many locations, okay? So what I will draw here, the shadow will be very different when I move my light source around. So if I place it here at this height, for example, we will create a certain type of shadows. If I move it down, the shadows will look different. So the more I move it up, the shorter the shadows will become. The more I move it down, the longer the shadows will appear, okay? Now, I can put it here, anywhere I can put the light source, okay? Every time, the shadow will look different, okay? Now here we don't have, we are just drawing freehand, we don't have specific measurements, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. The point is to learn how to draw the shadow when we have a certain form, a certain kind of object. Okay, so we select our light source somewhere above the horizon line, and then we need to put a straight line down until the horizon line, and this will be the light source vanishing point. We will both need this and this point to draw the shadow. Now, when we draw an object, whatever object it is, I said many times before, you always start with straight lines. Even if you have to draw a curve or a radius or whatever, you have to first draw the straight lines. Square, okay, rectangle. So, we will have what? Corners, like points, okay? These points are very important. Now the cube, it is already like that. It's shaped, so it will be easy to understand. Later, when we draw the circle, I will explain, and we will do some modifications to explain what will happen when we have a curve. So, a cube. Okay, how do we draw the shadow of the cube? Well, we start, first of all, notice the object. There is upper points and lower points. It's always important. So we have points at the top and points at the bottom. Here also, points at the top, points at the bottom. Here we have points at the top, which are these. We need to look at the frontal points, so that the ones at the front. So for example, this point, not important for the shadow, but this one, and this one, very important. And then we will look at the bottom 3 points, these. Okay. Now, the light source is here, I select it. Now, I need to draw straight lines from the light source through the upper 3 points. Let me do that now. So from the light source through the upper 3 points, and through this point also. Now, how long, I don't know, okay? Later, when I also draw these points, from this point, they will intersect, and then I will know the length. Now, I'm just drawing the lines passing through the upper points and the light source. Okay. Now, through this point, the light source vanishing point, okay, which is when you put a straight line down touching the horizon line, we will draw again 3 lines passing through these 3 points, the lower points, okay? The ones on the ground. the lines intersect. Where they intersect, here and here and here. We will just connect them, okay? Okay. Now, where is the shadow area? All of this here. This. All of this here is the shadow area of this cube, of this size, in this perspective point, and the light source in this location. Why am I saying this? Because once you change the size of the cube, once you move this cube to another location, once you change the light source location and height, the shadow will be different. Now, if I put the light source down here, for example, okay? The shadow will be much longer, okay? So, what am I saying is that when you draw later on, even if all of you draw a cube, everybody will have a different drawing. Everybody's light source, shadow will be different size, different location. Why am I saying that again? If I see two drawings the same, 100% the students copied from each other, okay? So just be careful about this point. It's impossible to have the same drawing. Now, we have not finished with the shadow. We need to hatch it. In design, when we draw shadows, we hatch, meaning we draw lines. We never draw shadow, which is like in the fine art, like this, for example, or, for example, use your fingers to smudge. No way, okay? We draw hatching, and the hatch lines need to be also organized. So you can use either this line or this line to draw the direction of the hatch line. So if I use this line, because the light source is coming from this direction, it will look something of this type. So here we will have line, okay, here. Start this. Now, as the shadow gets closer to the object in this area, the lines will become more closer to each other, more dense. As you go away, okay, it will become more spaces in between. This is also important for the visual, okay? So from here it will be more dense, then they will become more and more spread out. So this is the shadow area. Now, okay, this was a cube. Now, how do we draw a circle or a sphere as a shadow? The shadow of the circle. Again, the same steps. How do we draw a circle? We first have to draw the square, okay? The square has to be drawn first. Diagonals, then we find these 4 points, then we will draw our circle. Now, when we draw the shadow, we will first draw the shadow of the square. The shadow of the square. Later, we will draw the circle. So, these are the 2 upper points from the light source. From the light source, we will draw straight lines. From this point, the upper point, again from the light source. Okay, so these go to the light source. These are the 2 upper points. Now the 2 lower points from the light source vanishing point. And this point also. So, where they intersect, the 2 lines, this line with this line, And this line with this line, we draw the points and we connect. So, the shadow of the square, of this square, is this area, okay? But we don't need the square, we need the circle, okay? We just draw the square because you have the base on which to find the circle. Now, the circle have 4 points, this. This point we already know it's on this line. But where is this point located? This point needs to be located, so this point needs to be located somewhere on this line. This point needs to be located somewhere on this line, and this point will be located somewhere on this line. How do we find it? Again, by putting these 3 points through the light source. The light source location. Okay? And now through this point. So this point needs to be located on this line. Once this line touches here, here is the location. Okay? Now this point, where is it located on this line? From the light source. Where it touches this line is located here. What about this point here? Through the light source. When it touches this line, this is the point. So we have this point, this point, this point. Now we can connect, okay? Now we have all of the 4 points of the circle. We can connect. Of course, this will not look like a normal circle or oval shape. It can be distorted. Like if the shadow is very long, or depending on the light source from where it's coming from, it can be very distorted, okay? But we need to still connect. Okay, let me connect it with black. Here. So whatever we draw needs to touch these points. Can be very distorted here. So, now, the next step is what? We need, which one? We need this shadow area. We don't need the square, okay? So, the next step is to hatch. When it's closer to the object, the lines will follow this line, of course, here, and they will be densely close to each other. So, you hatch only the area of the shadow that you need, okay? Not the construction lines. The square is just a construction line, okay? So only the areas that you need. So this here, the square, we don't really need it. But you still need to draw, okay? Everything. Okay. Now, what about this kind of object? First of all, I put it up above the horizon a little bit so that you can see how to do something of this type, okay? So we have a light source, it will come here like this. it has an opening here. So how to deal with this kind of situation? Again, we have upper and lower points. The upper points are which? This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay? So these are the upper points. Now again, we will take from the light source and we will draw straight lines. Okay, we don't know how long they will be. Now this point, and this point as well. Okay, we'll come, okay. Come on top of this. And these 2 points as well. Here our lines, here. Okay. Now, through the lower points, let me use this color here. So, now, through the light source vanishing point, through which points? This point, this point, this point, this point, and this point. So, and this point now. Kind of long. Okay. Now the bigger your object, the longer your lines will be of the shadow, and will actually come out here of the paper. Okay. Now, this point, this point, this point also. And this point and this point. Okay. Okay, so let me see here which line here. It's this one with this one. Okay, we need to lengthen some of the lines, make them longer here. Okay, now we need to see where the lines intersect. Be careful if you have a lot of lines not to get confused. For example, the line that passes through this point, then you look at the line that passes through this point. It's the point on top of the point, okay? So this point has this line, okay? And this point has this line. So here they intersect, okay? Now, this point with this point. So the light source goes through here, this is the line, and this point goes, okay, so these two lines will actually come out here somewhere, okay? They're out of the board. So somewhere here they will touch. This line with this line, okay? They will intersect somewhere here. Now, this point with this point. So here, this is the line, and this one is here. So they intersect here. The next, this point with this point. Here is the first line, and here is the second line. So here, here, here. This one is somewhere out here. Out here, okay? We don't want to destroy the paint. Okay, and this one with this one, okay? Now, this point with this point. So, here is the line that passes through this point, and here is the other line, so here. So, did we check if we didn't miss anything? This here with this here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. And this here, okay. Now, it's time to connect them, okay? So, now this point will connect to wherever here it is outside of the paper, okay? Then, this will connect with this point, then, let me see, this point goes here, oh, sorry. These two will connect. And this point with this point, they will also connect here somewhere. And then, 1, 2, this one, 1, 2, here, okay? And then these two over here. Yes, now this point will connect here with this one here. Because this is, sorry, this is the opening. So this line, with this line, with this, okay, all of this here, and this here, this is the shadow area. So when I shadow it, let me shadow it, become a little more clear. Just remember, this line with this line, they will connect here. This is here the opening of this, okay? So let me follow these lines here to shadow. So as you can see, the shadow become very long. So the object is big a little bit. Depending on the light source location, the shadow can be very long, okay? So now when you draw on the paper, if you see this kind of situation that it's coming out of the paper, just reduce the size of the object or move the light source like up. Move it up. When it moves up, the more it moves up, the shorter it becomes. Okay? I just don't want something to get out of your paper. Okay, just keep everything inside. Okay, so this is when you have an opening. You also need to find with the same method, upper points, lower points, the same method. Okay, you find the location. Now, let's consider that this object here, not straight, but here have a curve, for example, okay? Now, I can put any size I want. I can put it from here, I can put it from here, it doesn't matter, okay? It's my choice. Now, if I put it from here to here, this go to the, sorry. This go to the vanishing point, okay? Now, it will have what? If I put a circle, so this point, it will have another point here, which is the middle of this. So we need to put diagonal. So this is here the mid, okay? Now, if I draw my circle here, or curve, okay, how can we locate it here? Okay? We have now this point, and this point to locate. Very easy. These 3 points we will put from the light source. So this point must be located on this line, which is this line. Okay? Let's put it from the light source and see. It intersects here. Now, this point must be on this line. From the light source, So this point on this line from the light source again. So it intersects this line here, we mark it. And this point through the light source must be located on this line. Who is talking all the time? Who is talking? Okay? So, this point through the light source, it's located where it intersects this line. Now we have 1, 2, 3 points that we need to connect. So, what I really want is this object here. This object only, okay? So, I will connect it. So if we have something like that, this will serve only as a construction line, okay, that we need to draw it first to find the location of this. So if we want now this shape, we have to continue the shadow lines until, it meets the object. So if we don't want the square, okay, you need to continue the shadow lines until it touches the object. Here, 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 and so on. Okay? If you want it straight, for example, okay, then you will do it like in the first, the way I did it in the first time. Let me just clean up here a few things. Now, what else can we do here? What if this object, it's a cube, okay, but what if we have like something of this type on top of it? So as you can see, you can either draw it straight away the way you want, or modify, put details later, and then you can also find their shadow. Of course, I prefer if you draw the entire object that you want, and then draw its shadow, okay? But let's modify now this one and put some kind of shape here on top. So how do I find the midpoint of this? Well, I can find it from here or from here. Diagonals, okay, so this is the midpoint. So from here to the vanishing point, here is the midpoint. What shall we draw? Okay, from here up. And this go to the vanishing point. So, something very simple. Okay. So if we have something like that on top, how will that change the shadow? Before it was just a cube, this is the shadow. Now, on top we have also new points. We have, for example, this point that we need to find, okay, its location, and it will be connected, where these 2 points are, this point and this point, are this point and this point. So it will be a continuation of them, okay? Let us find where this point will touch this line. So from the light source, So, and then we can connect this with this and this with this. Now, since we have something like that, now we need to also continue the shadow, okay? The shadow area to complete the object. So, the point with this is, as I said, drawing the shadows, and you need to again apply the same principles. You have straight lines that you need to find, upper points, lower points. After that, if you have curves, okay, then you identify where the points are, and you find them on the location on the straight lines, and then you draw the curves. Other details, more complex details, also later. So you start with the outside, the most simple box object. Everything is inside a box, okay, before the details come. You draw that, and then you add the details. You find where the details will intersect the other lines. Now, what I want you to do is, on your paper, the A3 paper, you will have 3 objects, okay? Please listen carefully so you don't make a mistake. I want everybody to have a square, a circle, so a square without this on the top, just a square, a cube, because it's a 3D object. Let me write a cube so I don't get confused. Okay, 1 cube, like this cube, 1 circle, like what I did here, okay? And 1 object of your choice. So, this, whatever you draw here, the 3rd object is from you. So, don't make it too complicated. The point is just to learn now the technique, but you will add some detail. You can have an openings, you can have a window, you can have something, you know, a little bit more complex than these two, okay? So, cube, circle, and another object. Now, the sizes is free. You choose the size, you choose the location of the light source, it can be anywhere, okay? You choose the height of the light source, that's up to you. No 2 drawings will look the same, okay? What size you choose for this, up to you. Everything, up to you. As long as it is a cube, it is a circle, you use the technique correctly, and another object of your choice. Now, where you put this object, here, 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 it doesn't matter. Okay? As long as you apply the technique correct. And you need to hatch the shadow area with pencil. Everything with pencil. Any questions about this technique? Any questions? Anything not clear?
دكتور كل مجسم على ورقة ولا 3 ورقات؟
1 paper, 3 objects, okay, inside here. Now be careful, if you make the objects too big, the shadow will come out of the paper, which isn't great, okay? So be careful what sizes you choose. If you have any problem, repeat the drawing. Very simple. You can move this light source down or up, okay, and every time you will have a different result. Any other questions?